Hello everyone, welcome to the communication and email session. Let's start by asking why, as in why is good communication important? So the way we communicate is a reflection of the company. Needless to say, bad communication reflects poorly, but at the same time, good communication can go a long way in establishing ourselves positively with potential customers and customers. Secondly, poor communication creates more work. Now there are two parts to this. So a lot of back and forth between two people in communication itself, because it wasn't clear, creates more work. And secondly, which is worse, is miscommunication. If something is misunderstood and wrong work was done, in both cases, it creates more work. So here are the topics for today. We'll cover general writing tips and communication tips, do's and don'ts of good emails, how to communicate with each other better internally, and top errors in FAP emails and how to fix them. Don't worry, I won't show the actual emails. Let's start with general. So in essence, writing is thinking. What do I mean by this is writing is only a medium to convey your thoughts, and randomness is unstructured. So when you think in a more structured way, you automatically write also in a more structured way. And to support that, you should always write with a purpose. Now, this could be anything from nurturing a lead, um, closing a customer, calming down an angry customer, or coaxing a partner to buy more credits. When you have a goal or purpose clear in mind, the writing itself becomes more structured. And you should always set the context before message, because if you don't, the person receiving the message has to ask what is the context, and most people who respect their time will not be happy with that. And you should always write to answer, not to confuse. What do I mean by this is your communication should be well thought through, so that it answers more questions than it invites. And you should always be direct, strive for brevity, as in say more with fewer words. We'll see later how to do it better. And next, we have do's and don'ts of good emails. Generally, you want to be very careful about the subject, as in keep it short and to the point, because the subject is the first thing that someone would see in the inbox, and often the deciding factor whether they will even open your email or not. And you want to introduce yourself, especially if you're talking to unknown people. You want to say who you are and why are you communicating this person. And you want to check for attachments always. It's missed easily, happens to everyone, has happened to me too, and it's quite embarrassing. So if you're attaching some documents to an email, you should always double check or even triple check if you have attached all the documents or not. And don'ts, all caps is a no-go because it looks a bit immature, and there are better ways to put across your point by choosing better words. And all caps also looks like you're shouting. You don't want to overdo chit chat. I understand that a certain amount of small talk is necessary to establish a rapport with people, but you want to keep that balanced and keep it to a minimum and focus more on the business communication itself. And you don't want to convey negative messages on email. For the same reason, you wouldn't break up with someone over text. Negative messages seem much worse than they actually are when communicated over text. A better way is to do phone calls or face-to-face for critical feedback and negative communications. Coming to formatting, you want to break your paragraphs and keep them short, no more than 2 or 3 sentences per paragraph. And you can even do one line space for smaller emails, as in you write one sentence, leave an empty line, and write your next sentence. It looks much neater that way. And you also want to use bullets or numbered bullets wherever appropriate. Now let's see an example of bad formatting. So at first glance, this looks all right. On the second line, you can see I have written for 1, blah, 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 2, strict dates, resource constraints, 3. So there are 3 points and some corporate gibberish in this email. Now, this is the same email. I've removed some words to make it concise, and this is a much better way of formatting it. You can notice the immediate difference. This is much more readable and well put together. So bad example, good example, bad example, good example. Coming to salutation. So you never want to say dear unless you're that person's grandma or grandpa. A better way to be is direct and say hi, John, hello, John, or hey, John. And you don't want to say sir, madam, hello, sir, hello, madam. It's a very Indian thing to do. Here too, a safe and direct way is to say hello, Mr. Smith, or hello, Ms. Jones. And coming to salutation, salutation is always for the last name of a person. So if someone is named John Smith, you don't want to say Mr. John or Dr. John. You want to say Mr. Smith or Dr. Smith. So let's see a brevity framework that I made to help you follow through this. The first step is to think. Remember that we covered most of writing is thinking, as in writing is a medium to communicate your thinking. So you want to think before writing. Think about what you really want to say and then actually write. And here itself, it will be better than your normal approach since you thought a bit about it. And third step is to remove words, even sentences. See if it made a difference. In most cases, it will not. This will cut down redundancy a lot. The fourth step is to review what you've written. See if you're conveying the message. Repeat this a few times and you will automatically achieve brevity in most of your communications. Now, this is an optional tip. You can use filters to move emails automatically. So I like to keep filters since I don't want these emails on my inbox, like employees on leave, work summaries, etc., etc. So I can choose to read them later or much later. Next, we have how to communicate better with each other internally. So you want to avoid meetings where emails or game plan posts will do. Now, of course, this is easier said than done in a growing company, but in some cases, it is achievable. The advantage is that written communication is recorded, and it also saves a lot of time. In a meeting, everyone has to be present, and written communication is a faster way to do it. And I can't stress on this enough. Whenever you're talking to someone, always set the context so that this person knows what you're talking about, and then you can be on the same page. And you're going to schedule calls by asking when is a good time or suggest a time yourself. You can't just go up to someone and say, hey, hi, let's have a call. That is not professional. It shows that you don't respect that person's time. So this is a better way to do it. And don't say hi and expect a reply. So some people might be familiar with this when talking to certain developers, and rightfully so, because certain kind of work requires a continuous flow of attention. And if you say hi and interrupt their day, they have to open the chat window just to say hi back to you. And so a better way to do this is just say hi and then get to the point. Hi, comma, your message, or hi. And then in the next message, get to your point. In meetings, always have an agenda. Not having an agenda wastes time. Remember that meetings are not to find an agenda. The goal of a meeting should be to answer a question. So the research and everything should already be done before the meeting. And then the meeting should be to brainstorm and find a solution. And be polite, don't cut off, needless to say. And it's good to talk when you have something to say. As in, talking just for the sake of it is not that great. So it's a good idea to talk when you have something to say. Next, we have top errors in Frappy emails and how to fix them. The first is suicidal text walls. So I see huge chunks of text. So break them up, break them into paragraphs and use single lines for small emails. They look much better. And the second one is typos in grammar and punctuation mistakes. So there are two cases. The first is the person generally doesn't know that they're making a mistake. That is a mistake. And the second is you're being careless and missing out on these things. That is a choice. Anyway, in both cases, you can use Grammarly. Definitely install that extension and it will catch most of your grammar and punctuation mistakes. And proofread anyway, because Grammarly is not going to fix everything for you. And the third one is redundancy. That is saying the same thing over and over with different sentences. To fix that, follow the brevity cycle, which we saw earlier. Think, write, remove, and review. The third one is redundancy. That is saying the same thing over and over. To fix that, follow the brevity cycle. Think, write, remove, and review. The fourth one is slightly dry emails. So you could use smileys. Traditionally, you would think that smileys are unprofessional in business emails, and you'd be right. But something as simple as this colon and closing bracket can add a touch of extra warmth. So, for example, you're writing an email to a customer or potential customer and can end the email with always happy to help and this emoji. So that will add an extra touch of warmth, which most B2B companies miss out on. And the fifth one is unnecessary bolds. So bold should be used sparingly, only for emphasis. And you certainly do not want to bold whole sentences, only words. The reason is, again, it looks a little immature if you bold whole sentences and unnecessarily use bolds throughout the email. The emphasis should only be on certain words. A better way to focus this is follow the brevity cycle and write in such a way that your email holds the attention of the reader. I'll leave you with a quote. Good communication is the bridge between confusion and clarity. And then I'll leave you with the essence of this presentation. Write simple, be understood. Thank you, everyone.